All right, another episode of I Hate Fantasy Football is here. Playoffs are so close.
Yep.
1 week away till playoffs.
Yep. Finally
Who
there.
is going to be in?
Yep.
Who is going to be out?
Yep.
I think we already know who some of the teams that are going to be out. That's okay. We definitely don't know who is going to be in quite yet. We've got one person in. One person.
The best one.
Three more players trying to get into that last spot. Let's go ahead and for Crazy MFJR, I am the captain. We're going to go ahead and take a look at week 12.
Yep.
We'll look at waivers, and we'll take a look at some playoff scenarios that who needs what to happen.
Yep.
So we'll start with waivers. When I looked at waivers this week, I once again got a couple more players for free.
2 players added. One of them hates America, so you must too.
Yeah, Lisa took Child Beater last week. I took Hate America this week. It's just the way it goes.
I love the NFL.
It is great, isn't it?
It's pretty awesome.
I actually might keep Kaepernick for a few weeks.
he's
good.
playing pretty well.
And then I did notice Taylor Gabriel for Gus.
Yep.
Like, that is the most Gus player there ever was.
You spent $15 on him, but he's pretty good. I mean, he's averaged 15.6 points per week in the last 4 weeks since he really started to get some playing time.
Yeah, but he has one catch for like 90 yards in a touchdown. That
That's
is the most Gus player there ever was.
We don't play PPR, so the catches don't matter. Yep. Some other things that happened. Ryan added 5 players.
It's about time.
5 players. So I guess he's really trying to stay out of the toilet bowl. He spent $19 on Kenneth Dixon, $7 on Marquise Wilson, $5 on Deshaun Jackson, and then picked up the Chiefs and Andre Ellington, the handcuff to David Johnson. Now, a couple of those I think have to be the DC metro area bias because he got both Dixon and Jackson. So that's Ravens and the Washington Redskins. So, he's probably hearing a bunch on local radio about how those guys are great.
Deshaun Jackson's good for 30 points. And
A
he's
year?
good for what? Depends on the
Yeah,
week.
he's the biggest boomer bust you can possibly get.
Yeah.
I bought back Alshon Jeffrey because I saw Matt Barkley throw a bunch of yards. Matt Barkley might be the best USC quarterback in the league.
It is possible. He might be my DFS quarterback.
We'll see. And then the one other thing that was interesting, there was only one player that multiple people bid on, and that was with Jackson, and Tom bid on him and didn't win him. But nobody else had any counter bids, which I found to be a little bit interesting, at least.
Like this late in the season, not that many guys are bidding.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of guys got picked up.
A lot of guys picked up, but like Lisa didn't make any moves. I don't think Kevin made any moves. I don't think Keitel made any moves. I just, it's kind of interesting. People are trying to position themselves for the playoffs, and they're apparently happy with what they have, or just aren't paying attention. I'm not sure, but I saw it was interesting.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look forward at Week 12.
Yep.
Week 12 is coming up. There are a lot of playoff implications.
A lot of important matchups. I think that the most important of which is going to be Jordan playing Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
They're both trying to get into the playoffs, and they're playing each other. Other important matchups, Kevin's playing Jeff. Jeff's on a slide. Kevin's on a slide, but Kevin's trying to get in the playoffs. However, Kevin does not have DeMarco Murray, who's been his rock throughout this entire season, and he's got to try to win this game to get in without him. Gus plays Tom. That also has some interesting implications because Gus is trying to get into the playoffs. Lisa's trying to get into the playoffs. Tom's trying to stop Gus from getting into the playoffs. I just think
there's a triangle there somewhere.
That's kind of interesting. I play Keitel. Keitel's trying to sneak in through the back door in the playoffs. He's got to try to beat me. That's interesting. And then you play Ryan to try to keep yourself out of the toilet bowl and into contention to potentially win the IC belt again. So all those are important and interesting. All
right, so I took a look closer at some of those matchups, and I wanted to see what each team needed in order to make it into the playoffs.
Sure.
The simplest way to put it, anybody who's 7-5, if you win, you're in.
Yep.
It's that simple. You win this week, you're in. That is mostly because Jordan plays Lisa.
Yep.
So one of those teams has to lose. So again, you win, you're in.
Yep.
Now, if you lose, here's the scenarios. Here are the things that you need to happen.
All right.
All right, we'll start this off with both Lisa and Jordan. Lisa and Jordan are playing each other. So whichever one of them loses needs a lot to happen for them to get in. We'll start with Lisa. If Lisa loses to Jordan, then she also needs Keitel to lose, and then Gus or Kevin to lose, or she needs Keitel to lose and Gus and Kevin to lose. Or if Keitel does win, she's going to need both Gus and Kevin to lose, or she's going to need to outscore either Gus or Kevin, whichever one of those happens to lose. So she does have a good chance to get in, but she's got some points to make up because she is currently behind both Gus and Keitel. So if she goes in tied with wins with Gus or Keitel, she is going to need to outscore them this week. She's currently ahead of Kevin, so if Kevin has a big week, that could also put a crimp in her plans. Jordan is in the same boat. He needs 2 of the 3, Keitel, Gus, and Kevin to lose, just like Lisa did. And Jordan is also needs to outscore either Gus or Keitel if he is going to be tied with them. He is currently behind both Gus and Keitel, and again, he leads Kevin just like Lisa did. So hopefully, for his sake, he is tied with Kevin going into the tiebreakers. Kevin and Gus have a little bit different of a scenario. Because Lisa and Jordan are playing each other, one of those 2 are going to lose. And since one of those 2 are going to lose, they only need 1 or 2 of the other Keitel and Gus to lose. If both Keitel and Gus loses, Kevin is in, but he does need to outscore one of those 2. If Keitel loses and Gus wins, then he's going to need to outscore the loser of the Lisa Jordan match. If Keitel wins and Gus loses, then he is going to need to outscore 2 of those 3 teams. And if both Keitel and Gus wins, he has a big task where he's going to need to outscore both Keitel and the Lisa Jordan loser. And he is currently behind Keitel by 51.5 points. So he's going to have a lot of points needed to make this happen. Gus is basically in the same situation where he needs, because of the Lisa Jordan matchup and one of them losing, he just needs 1 of the 2, Keitel and Kevin, to lose. But again, he's going to need to do some outscoring. He is actually in the driver's seat, though. Gus has the best and the easiest chance to get in because he's currently leading, although his lead is quite minimal. The one that will throw a kink into everything is going to be Keitel. Keitel needs to win. That is the most important thing for him. Keitel needs to win, and then he needs both Kevin and Gus to lose, or if Kevin or Gus loses, he needs to keep the point lead that he has over at least one of them. So it is a very, very close race. A lot can happen over this week. So basically, a lot of us can play spoiler if we could beat somebody. I don't expect anybody to throw their match this week because it's going to be a good week. It's going to be fun to watch, see who can get in and see what everyone can do.
Yep. I'm excited.
All right, that's going to wrap up another week of I Hate Fantasy Football for Crazy MFJR. I am the captain, and we will see you next time.
Bye.